Okay, good to see you again.
To see you too. Thank you for coming.
Okay. All right. So hopefully we're able to get into this line of thought over here, which the Trump is bringing as a preempt, as a now we're now in the process of learning how to doubt. And the area which we're dealing with over here is the physicality, okay, which in the uh, in the process of saying the words and thinking about the words. So the purpose is to make the animal so excited about the fact that he doesn't understand what's really going on. Okay, so so to speak, to get into a deeper level of how we really don't understand what's going on. So the Rashab brings us into a somewhat of understanding of what the process of the creator, if the creator wants to create a creation, so it has to go through different levels. An example, just like on a person, the person wants to have the a person wants to accomplish something. There are different levels in his line of thinking that it goes through. You want to accomplish something, so first I got to understand the idea is a good idea, and then I have to think about how you're gonna how would you if you wanted to do it, how would you do it? And then you have to decide it has to be done. And then when it has to be done, it means that you're going to have to now get involved in the details of how to do it. An example, a person wants to build a house. So the truth is, we know that the reason why a person wants the house is a deep reason. Why? Because a person without a house is not a person. It's a deep, deep need of a person that he needs to have a house. So this where does this come from in spirituality? Because it is from the desire of the creator that he wants to have a home in the lower worlds. So we also have that deep desire to have a house. So when a person decides he wants to go to get through the process of either building a house or acquiring a house, so it has to be that it goes from his 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 understanding to his willpower that he's actually going to decide he's going to have to do it. And then, besides the willpower that he wants to do it, he has to start dealing with the details. And to deal with the details, he can't be dreaming. It means he has to deal with the details. The details should work out that he should have this kind of house in the end that he's going to enjoy. Because what's really is behind the process of building a house is that there's an enjoyment that the person wants to live in the house. And to have the enjoyment of living in the house, it has to be the details are according to the way he wants it. Because if a person wants a house that's a certain size, a certain shape, and the builder doesn't do it according to the way he wants. So then, they say, you got a problem. What are you going to do? This happens all the time with people want to fix up their houses. They think that it's going to come out the way they think, and the contractor says, well, what did you expect? We do our best. Okay, so therefore, so when it comes to building a house, as a person wants to have the door should be in a certain place, and the builder puts it in a different place. So it's not just a little mistake. Right? Now the person has to figure out what to do with the door in the wrong place. Okay, so now that's an example of the fact, an example of when you want to do copy something, person has to get in and deal with the details. As of a contractor, has to an architect has to do things according to the way that he wants, and then he has to make sure that the contractor gets the right kind of people, and he has to have somebody watch over them when they're working. Yeah, you can't just say, well, it'll just happen all by itself. No, has to get involved. The question is, why is it like that? Why is it you have to be able to accomplish something, you have to get involved. So on a deeper level, and Rishab is saying is because, so to speak, that's what the creator does to be able to create the physicality. Not something which happens just because it's instant reaction. No, Creator is constantly involved in the details and the causing the creation, which is really nothing, comes from nothing to something, right? As we explained many times, as an example of the program on the computer, right? It has to be every moment that the computer is making the program. If there's no electricity, there's nothing to make it go. And there's not that it just sort of fades away. It just there's nothing. So there's an example that the world's been created every moment from something to nothing. And to make something that should have a feeling that it's completely separate is the new stage of what we're talking about in this part of the mind. That unlike the heavenly celestial beings, the sun, the stars, which they are also created. They're creations, but they are created in so to speak, in an indirect way. Just like when when there's a fire, or heater in the room warms up. So it's so to speak, a result of the fact that there's a heater. But so to speak, that since the Creator said and commanded, and therefore there was the creations. So those creations are, so to speak, connected indirectly with the command, which is making them come into existence. So therefore, they can't feel themselves as a separate entity. Okay. Whereas the physicality is, so to speak, that the creator invests themselves, gets dressed up, so to speak, in the process of creating the physicality. Okay. Now, there is again different levels of what it means to be dressed up. There's dressing up to be able to create the physicality is at the same time a two opposites together. It's only straight from the creator to be able to create physicality, because from spirituality you'd never be able to create physicality. As much as a person punches as it would be filtered out in spirituality, could never create from that something which would feel completely separate, because everything which is spirituality is connected with something else with spiritual, even if it's less spiritual. For example, if a person has an idea, you can have from that idea another idea, and it's another idea. So by Shlomo Melech, he was able to take an idea and to bring it down 3,000 levels. In other words, to understand this idea, I give you another idea. And to understand this idea, I give you another idea. 3,000 levels. Take one idea and bring it down. But as many times as it would bring it down, it still remains an idea. It would not become a hamburger. It would never become a tree. And that it would never, it couldn't happen. Why? Because from spirituality, you can't make physicality. Physicality is something which is specifically coming from the Creator himself. When it is a creation of something from nothing. The miracle is that we have our souls put together with a physical entity. That's the miracle, right? That you can have such a thing as the spiritual and the physical together in one unit. That's a miracle. And that's what we say in the blessing, right? After a person relieves himself. So we make a blessing of it. Thank the Creator for the unbelievable miracle that you made, that we can exist in physicality and we're really spiritual. Okay. So therefore, what does that mean? That at the same time that there's a creation of the physicality, at the same time, there is a removal of the creator who is creating it at the same moment that he's completely removed, so there should not be suspected that he's creating it at every moment. Now you have two opposite things, which is called hislapsh, in Hebrew, slapshus, getting involved in the details. So we understand that when a person wants to accomplish something, he has to get involved in the details. And so to speak, to be awful, the creator is involved in every details of the creation. At the same long time, he's completely removed. So you have two opposites. And the removement is not like not a different kind of removement. There's a different kind of removement which is completely removed, which means that the creator can do whatever he wants without the creation feeling that he's really running the show, right? Which is a different kind, which we call in Hebrew, called siba. There's a reason behind it. In other words, when the creator wants to accomplish something, and for whatever reason it doesn't make sense to why it should happen, but it's going to happen anyways because that's what he wants. But that's not what we're talking about. That's not the level. It's called Siba. Yeah, from the high, so to speak, the Siba is above everything. That a creator can control everything. Then there's a level when he wants on, he wants to control it, but it's not yet on the level of causing it to come into reality yet. And then we have the level it's called Hislapshus, that is now involved. That's what that's what happens in Malchus. On the other hand, there's another part of Malchus, which Malchus also, besides the creation is coming through Malchus, there also the fact that the physicality is constantly has to have a life force is also coming through the Malchus, which is a different level at the same time, which means it was just called the life force which is coming in such a way that the creation can have sense there has to be that there's a life force behind it, right? So we see that the life force between a person is different than the animal level, and the animal is different from the vegetable level, and the animal level is even less. So that's not. I'm talking about creating the physicality. If we're talking about the life force which is invested in the creation, that is revealed. Then we assume that the person is alive because it has to be. There's a soul behind it that's making it go. Right? And then it's obvious that that everything which a person does, the powers they can speak, do and answer is coming from a spiritual source. That's the two different kinds of things that are going up to Mars. One is the possibility of bringing something into creation in such a way that's it's called koach hapoel b'nifal, that we say that there's a power which is invested that's causing things to come into creation, and then in such a way that it's called yesh ma'ayin. That what does yesh ma'ayin means? That it's something which does not sense its source of where it's coming from, because at the same time that it comes into creation as a separate entity, the creator is at the same time separated from it. And this is sort of speak the points of this part of the Maimon. And this is really the preparation now for coming into the next step, which we're going to talk about Bezat Hashem, and what we think about when we cross the boundary and go into the brachas of the Krishma. So then there comes a different line of thought. This whole line of what we thought of here is connected with the purpose of coming to the animals that should be amazed at the unbelievable powers and the greatness of the Creator, that this is what's happening around him, and he doesn't understand what's going on. And this is the sort of the inner part of all the praises that we say during Sugi Zima. Praise the Creator of His greatness. So here's the line of thought to understand how great it is that the same moment that you're creating is completely separate. And that's what we say.
Pia Reino, luego de Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach, Leolam Ba'ed.